Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to continue our player prediction series as we have Isaiah Joe to go over today. We're also going to talk about Media Day for OKC and when that is. We're also going to talk about the very controversial ESPN Top 100 rankings that came out today. We had 50 through 11 come out, and Jada was ranked at 11, so we'll talk more about that. And then at the end, we'll do our trade rumor and stuff along those lines. But first off, just continuing our player prediction series. Yesterday, we went over Jay Will, so if you want to watch that one, you can go back to that one. And for today, we're going to talk about Isaiah Joe. And Isaiah Joe's in a spot where he's making the most out of a lot of the bench players that are tradable for the Thunder that you would think could possibly be a part of some trades. You have Isaiah Joe who could be in there, Ousmane Dieng, AJ Mitchell, Topic, Kenrich Williams. Isaiah Joe makes the most out of all of them at $11 million per year. So he still has a very tradable contract, but for him and the prediction of this upcoming season, we just got to see him be more consistent as a player. It feels like every time he goes out there, if he misses his first couple of shots, it's going to be a pretty bad night. He's either going to shoot 0 for 6 or he's not going to want to shoot it anymore and he's not effective on the floor. And then in turn, we don't really use him off the bench. And then there's games where he'll hit his first 2 threes, and then that could be a game where he drops 15, 18 points on 4 or 5 threes, and it feels like he just can't miss. So what we're hoping to see from Isaiah Joe is a bit more consistency on that side of it. He's still one of the better shooters in the league and probably the best outside shooter on the Thunder in general. So he does have value just because the Thunder are one of the bottom half teams in three-point shooting. So is he going to stay on the team? And we kind of have to look at it from the perspective of what is available come trade deadline stuff. Is there somebody that we might want to go after, or is he doing good enough to where we won't have to worry about getting another three-point shooter or a sharpshooter because he's doing so good he can actually be viable in the playoffs? Because in those playoffs, when we were seeing him against all these teams like the Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Pacers, he would go out there and he would either miss a couple threes and then just kind of not do anything the rest of the game and really just go from there. So we're hoping, I really want to see him just be more consistent on that. We've seen him poster people before, so we know he can drive in. So maybe work on maybe driving a bit more inside, and then that'll open up the three-point shot. But just trying to stay more consistent. We'll see how maybe after the first 5-6 games of the season, how much he's being used in the sense of how much he's coming off the bench. Are they using him in certain situations to get that three, and he can kind of be a specialist in that sense. But it's going to be very interesting to see what we get from Isaiah Joe this upcoming season, if he's still going to be a part of the team come the playoffs by this time next year. But now we'll kind of transition into talking about OKC and Sam Presti announcing their media day. It'll be this upcoming Monday on September 29th. So that really means starting next week is when we're getting back into the swing of things with everything looking forward to next season. We're kind of already doing that, but that's really when it'll start up. We'll be able to get news on the Jada wrist stuff, and we'll get probably more news throughout off-season stuff with certain players and all that, but it just kind of gets you the idea that we're right around that corner and we're just getting stuff rolling and we're right back into it. We're already less than a month away from the opening night, and we're just a couple weeks away from getting some preseason action in there as well. But now we'll kind of talk about a interesting thing that came out today, or yesterday, for ESPN ranking their top 100 players for this upcoming season. It's already been so controversial from 100 to 51, and then they dropped 50 through 11 today. I mean, there was a bunch of things on the 100 through 51, as Cooper Flagg was ranked 52, already ahead of guys like Alex Caruso, Paul George, Austin Reeves before he's even played a game. So it kind of is a projection of how good they think they're going to play this year. But to have somebody who hasn't even played a single game above guys like a Caruso who just helped the Thunder win a championship, or a Paul George or an Austin Reeves, is kind of craziness. And then what got dropped today was 50 through 11. And the big thing a lot of people have been arguing about is J-Dub's too high at 11. And we've talked about it a lot. I think J-Dub's right around that 15 to 17 range. I think 11 is a little bit high for me even as well, just because he's a second option, and most of the players that you're going to see in that inside that top 10 or borderline where they have him at 11 is number one options for the most part, unless you're like a Luka and LeBron, where obviously you're both A1 and AB options and you're just kind of on your own tier. But to have J-Dub that high is it's showing respect to the league, and it shows that they recognize what he did. But to have him over a guy like Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell is kind of where people are starting to get a bit ticked off that he was doing that. I think he kind of fits right in that area of the Donovan Mitchell, maybe slide him right ahead and maybe put 80 and Devin Booker over him. I don't think he's that far behind those guys, but I don't necessarily think he's at 11. I think by the end of this next year, he's for sure going to be a borderline top 10 player. I think at least right now for me, he's just in that 15 to 17 range. I love that at least they're showing him the respect that he deserves after dropping 40 on the wrist and really helping the Thunder in some key spots get to this championship. But it's very interesting. There's been a lot of people arguing about where you have J-Dub, how high he is, and all of that. So I'm interested to hear what your side of the things has on that and what you guys think where J-Dub is ranked, because we're going to get the top 10 tomorrow. I'm sure Shai's going to be inside that top 3, whether it's Jokic, Shai, Giannis, Luka, any variants of those 4 should be the top 4. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they have Shai now, because if they have J-Dub this high, is there a chance that Shai is number 1? I still think they're going to put Jokic 1, Shai 2. If I had to bet, they would probably put Giannis 3, Luka 4, but I could really see them flip-flopping those 2 and really going any variance of that. And I'm also interested to see how high they have Victor Wembanyama. So is he going to be inside the top 8, top 7, and he's going to be around 6 or 5? It's going to be interesting to see how they go about that. But for this, J-Dub being ranked at number 11, pretty high, but it shows that ESPN is showing their respect to J-Dub and getting that championship for the Thunder this past season. But we'll kind of wrap up the video today talking about another possible trade rumor for the OKC Thunder, and this was made by a sports site for the Thunder to go get Keegan Murray from the Sacramento Kings. And we've talked a lot about the Kings and certain players the Thunder could go after, because the Kings are now, once they shipped off Fox, they're kind of in that dead zone where they kind of need to ship off those more experienced players and kind of just revamp and retool. And Keegan Murray's another one of those guys. And on this trade, they had us giving up Nikola Topic, Ousmane Dieng, and I believe it was a first round, 2 first rounds, and a couple of seconds as well to get Keegan Murray, a guy who would fit right along in that bench unit, right along Aaron Wiggins, Caruso, Wallace in that second area, play the 4, could maybe even play some stretch 5 minutes. And he provides a big body, and he also gives you some scoring off the bench that you don't really see that much for the Thunder. And that would be big to allow a lot of scoring to come off the bench for the Thunder. And obviously, the contract is something that the Thunder would have to pay attention to, because money in the apron is going to be a big thing for the Thunder moving forward. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.